Being highly effective has nothing to do with how much you get done. It's everything to do with who you are when no one's watching. That's what Stephen Covey discovered after decades of working with Fortune 500 CEOs and government leaders. Are you someone who works hard but constantly feels like you're falling behind? Have you ever chased productivity hacks or morning routines, only to end up more burned out than before? What if everything you believed about success was based on a fundamental misunderstanding? In The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey reveals the hidden operating system used by elite performers, while everyone else operates on reactive autopilot, wondering why they feel stuck. By the end of this video, you'll understand the exact internal shift that separates those who grow exponentially from those who endlessly chase surface-level wins. This isn't just another book summary. This is about becoming someone your future self will thank you for. The habit that changed everything for me wasn't about being more efficient. It was about being effective, in the way Covey defines it. And it starts with one foundational habit that rewires everything else. Be proactive. Most people think being proactive means taking initiative or being productive, but Covey flips that on its head. Here's what most people get wrong. They believe their emotions, circumstances, or past define their behavior. This creates a devastating consequence. They hand over control of their lives because they react instead of choose. But Covey discovered something radically different. After studying history's most respected leaders and observing real-world patterns, he realized that true proactivity isn't about doing more. It's about reclaiming your freedom to choose your response. Between stimulus and response, there's a space, and in that space lies your power. Imagine waking up tomorrow and instead of being triggered by your inbox or boss, you pause, you breathe, you choose. That calm certainty in chaos, that's what it feels like to live proactively. You feel the shift in your chest, the weight lifting, because you're no longer a slave to circumstance. This approach taps directly into our brain's executive function, the prefrontal cortex, the evolutionary advantage that separates humans from every other species. It's why the ability to pause and choose becomes your superpower in a world addicted to reactivity. Look at how Oprah Winfrey rebuilt her career after a decade of setbacks. She didn't wait for circumstances to be perfect. She took ownership of her inner world first. She stopped blaming. She chose her response and rewrote the story. To implement this, start small. Next time you're frustrated, pause. Say out loud, "I choose." That's it. Most people overcomplicate this. They wait for motivation or clarity. But proactivity begins in the moment, not in the plan. The real power isn't in controlling your schedule, it's in mastering your response. And that changes everything. But this is where it gets interesting. Covey says most people live in what he calls the circle of concern, worrying about things they can't control. The news, other people's opinions, the economy. But effective people operate from their circle of influence, focusing only on what they can control. Their thoughts, choices, and habits. And here's the twist. The more you focus on what you can influence, the larger your influence becomes. This one principle alone could reduce your anxiety by half. When combined with what's next, it becomes a blueprint for personal sovereignty. Most summaries of this book completely miss the critical nuance here. Being proactive isn't just about action, it's about identity. And that brings us to a deeper truth. Your identity isn't static, it's shaped by your habits. When you commit to living the 7 habits, you don't just do different things, you become a different person. See this from the perspective of your future self, the version of you who no longer feels pulled in 1,000 directions, the one who wakes up with clarity, builds trust effortlessly, and knows how to lead. That version of you? It starts with how you respond right now. You might be thinking this sounds idealistic. That's natural because we've been trained to believe that change requires giant leaps. But here's the critical distinction. Micro responses compound into macro results. It's not willpower, it's awareness. Think about the last time you felt completely in control, like your actions aligned with your values. That same feeling becomes accessible when you understand the habits Covey outlines. Let's go deeper. Habit 2. Begin with the end in mind. Here's what most people get wrong. They set goals without values. They chase success without defining what matters. This creates misalignment and eventually burnout. But Covey challenges us. Write your own eulogy. Picture your funeral. Who's there? What are they saying? That emotional exercise reorients your entire life, because when you know the legacy you want to leave, your daily decisions change immediately. Imagine walking into a meeting knowing exactly what you stand for. You feel grounded, not performative. You speak with clarity, not ego. You're no longer driven by external validation because your compass is internal. This habit activates your brain's reticular activating system, filtering every input through your vision. That's why suddenly decisions become easier, distractions fade, alignment increases. You become magnetic. We see this in how Martin Luther King Jr. led the civil rights movement. He wasn't chasing incremental wins, he was living from a vision. He began with the end in mind, and history followed. Start with this. Define what success looks like on your terms. Most people overcomplicate this. They copy someone else's dream. But this isn't about imitation, it's about intention. The real power isn't in having a plan, it's in having a purpose. I'm curious, have you ever noticed how much time we spend on things that don't actually matter? Let me know in the comments, because the next principle builds directly on this. Habit 3. Put first things first. This isn't about managing time, it's about managing you. Covey introduces the time management matrix, 4 quadrants that explain why most people feel busy but unproductive. The secret? Spend more time in quadrant important but not urgent. That's where growth lives. Reflection, planning, connection. These things don't scream, but they build empires. You might feel the tension now. Your calendar's full, but your soul's starving. That's not time mismanagement, it's value misalignment. Remember a time when you made space for something that mattered, deep work or a meaningful conversation. That feeling? That's quadrant 2. That's where effectiveness begins. The habit that changed everything for me wasn't dramatic, it was invisible. Choosing to respond, not react. Choosing vision over impulse. Choosing what matters over what distracts. This next insight from Covey is personally the most transformative for me. If you found a different principle most valuable, share which one below. When I first encountered these ideas, I was stuck in motion sickness, busy, but not moving forward. Now I see success completely differently. It's not about speed, it's about alignment. Of all the insights we've covered, remember these 3. First, be proactive. You are not your circumstances, you are your choices. Second, begin with the end in mind. Clarity is the compass that eliminates confusion. Finally, put first things first, because urgency doesn't equal importance. Here's my challenge to you. In the next 24 hours, take just 10 minutes to write down what matters most to you. That tiny step activates everything we've discussed. This isn't just about productivity. It's about becoming the kind of person who builds trust, creates meaning, and leads from the inside out. In my next video, I'll show you how these principles combine with atomic habits to create a self-reinforcing identity loop. Subscribe now so you don't miss the unexpected connection between values-based living and effortless habit formation. The real win isn't doing more, it's becoming someone worth following.